All right, go ahead. We are good to go. Oh my goodness, we're all over it. Happy week before Thanksgiving. I'm Chris Van Bloem here with AARP Maryland to show you a really quick, easy, fun dessert for you to take to Thanksgiving. I swear it follows the perfect season to do caramel apples. Is that how you guys say it? I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so I always say caramel because that's just what I know. One of the things that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make your own homemade caramel because it's so delicious. But we'll talk about other options, all right? We only need four ingredients. We ready to go? Let's do it. I've got a pot over here, a nice heavy bottom pot, and a cup of granulated sugar. All right. Now, mine is inexplicably a little lumpy. I don't know why. But I've got a cup of granulated sugar, and I'm going to put it over pretty high heat. Now, there are two kinds of caramels that you can do. One's called a dry caramel, and that is when you just do the sugar. There's no liquid of any kind in there. And let me just tell you, we have nothing to prove to anyone. So we're not doing that. I think it's so easy to mess those up. And I feel like if I'm putting the effort in to make something homemade and nice, I want to make it as foolproof as possible. So we're going to do a wet caramel and we're going to add in a quarter cup of water. Now, here's my trick. All right. I'm not going to stir it at all. And we may have talked about this in the past, but this is really important. Sugar likes to crystallize. So if you get in there and you start stirring, the sugar crystals that haven't melted yet can get up along the sides of the pan. And when they do that, it wants to get back in the pan and then kind of spread that crystallization. You can destroy caramel sauce really easily that way. So I just pour the water in and don't do any stirring at all. But remember how I said sometimes these can be easy to mess up, so I like them to be foolproof? I'm going to use a little bit of lemon juice to stabilize it. Now, I'm just going to use, I don't know, maybe a teaspoon, maybe a little more. Definitely not for flavor here, but it is for stability. And I got a little lemon seed. That's why I squeeze it over my hand. You do not have to be so devil may care in your attitude with your lemons, but I like to do that. You could also use a little bit of corn syrup. If you have the clear corn syrup, just a teaspoon of that helps stabilize our caramel as we go through. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that bubble. That's it. We're going to let it bubble. We're not taking temperatures. That's why I like this. We're not taking any temperatures at all. We're just going to go until it starts to get that beautiful golden brown. And you may have seen me make this one before. This is a staple for me. I love this one. But let's get into why this is such a showstopper for all of our friends at Thanksgiving. I know that somewhere you have some pieces that you can do to make a quick display. And I'll tell you, I just walked around my house this morning. I pulled this tray. I've used put it up here so you can see it. I've used a wooden tray when I did this for my friend Julie. This is one I just had on my dining room table. If you have a charcuterie board that you love, you can totally use that. No problem. Then I got a set of 10 different bowls for I think $10 at one of the big warehouse stores. You can use whatever you've got. I'm serious, even plastic, it doesn't matter. No one's going to care. But you can get as, I think now all the younger girls call it aesthetic. You can get as aesthetic as you want on this. So this is how I did it. Think about putting your own flair, and I do have an empty bowl here for my caramel sauce that we're making. Now, you can see I put a big old canning jar here in the middle, and that is where we're going to hold our apples. Alrighty? But nobody likes nasty brown apples. That won't be delicious. So I have a Honey Crisp here. I love a Honey Crisp. I love a Gala. And I love a Granny Smith for caramel apples, because when you use a Granny Smith, you get that tartness, which is so delicious, right? Playing against the sweet. So I'm just going to cut my apple into quarters. Now, don't worry, I have a smaller, much more respectable knife. And usually when I slice apples, I do it when I'm just snacking on them. I cut around the core, but we want a little presentation for this. We want these to look kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get 8 pieces of apple out of each apple, okay? They should be like 8 equal pieces. And I took the other half of that lemon and squeezed it in to some water. Now, prepare to astound your family and friends. We all know that this is, we're putting the acid in the water to prevent browning, right? And I just throw the whole half a lemon right in there to make sure I'm getting maximum usage. So what I do here is I use our acidulated, I know, say that 5 times fast, our acidulated water to help protect our apples from browning. Now this is just bubbling away, nothing to see here. And please, if you're working with sugar, with hot sugar, really please take care of yourself. And this is not the time to bring kiddos in, okay? This is not the time to have kids help you when you're working with hot sugar. But if you want this to be a kid-friendly, check this out. We're using skewers, just wooden skewers that you get at the grocery store. You could buy yourself a jarred caramel sauce, right? So good, so easy. And you can make, just so you know, this one, because you know I'm always going to give you a plea for homemade. You can make this one 5 days ahead. You can make this one this weekend, right? You can make it this weekend with no problem at all. Store it in the fridge. Now, the one trick is sometimes caramel sauces don't want to double, triple really easily. So you may, I just use this as a component. You see what's happening here? How cute this is? Now picture this with the green apples too, because then it just gets too cute. And I like a nice tall jar for balance, because we are a little top heavy here. All right, there we go. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to keep this as easy as you want it to be. You can make it as easy or complex, whatever rocks your world. And then if we're getting into our toppings, this is where you can really let your style and your taste fly. Because I went really basic. I have little candy-coated chocolates, but miniature. I really like things to be miniature for this, because if they're mini, they stick better on the apple when we dip them in. And I can see my sauce is already starting to turn a beautiful brown color. All right, last one here. Dripping a little. There we go. Woo. Now, I'm a believer in cooking with your nose as much as with your other senses. So you will be able to start smelling your caramel sauce. And you want it to get just a little darker than you think. But I know sometimes the burnt or slightly burnt flavor is in vogue. Like right now, people are kind of into that, which is great, but I like to take it not quite to there. And when you see it and you're like, oh, that's a perfect color, you have to let it go just a tiny bit longer, because think about all the cream we're going to put in, And yes, we're talking Thanksgiving, we're talking holidays, so I'm totally going to use real cream here. Ooh, that's looking so good. You want to take a look? Here, I'm going to bring the camera over so you guys can see. You ready? Look at that. Oh, so gorgeous. I love it. I love it. All righty. So this is getting ready to go. I turned my heat down just a little to slow its roll. So I've got this ready to go. I'm going to take it off the heat. That's important. For me, I'm just going to set it right here. Nice level surface. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to take it off the heat. And I don't know if you saw, but it's really low in the pot. That's important because I'm going to take the heavy cream. No, you can't use oat milk. No, you can't use regular milk. And no, you can't use half and half. We're going to pour this in, and it's going to steam and bubble really aggressively. Remember when I said this part isn't for kids? This is why. This is what I mean. All right, there we go. The steam comes up, the bubbles come up, and then it goes right back on the heat. No problem. And we just cook it for another minute or two. Now, let me tell you this. Hot caramel is, I just think hot sugar is the worst burn you can get. And I tell you this because I just want you to be prepared. When you get hot sugar, before we put that cream in there, when you get hot sugar on your skin cools it really quickly so it sticks. Then you reach over with your other hand to get it off. So please be very focused and very concentrated on what you're doing. All right. And then, gorgeous. We're going to take a spoon just to see texturally if it's where we want it. Now, don't lick it no matter what you're thinking. I know you guys, I know what you're thinking. And you can see I'm giving it a second to cool, right, before I take it. I'm going to take my finger and drag it through. Now, it's not hot, it's warm, but what I'm looking for is the line to stay. The line to stay there, okay? And that means we're in perfect condition. It will thicken as it cools. There we go. You've got your candies. I've got little toffee pieces. That is my favorite. I've got mini chocolate chips. And I found there's kind of a bulk section at my grocery store. And I found the candy-coated chocolates and the sprinkles and the mini chips all in that section, which is really great. Now, I want my caramel to be a little cooler than it is right now, but I want you guys to see how pretty and how easy that is. Then when you serve it, you don't have to worry about big apples just laying all over the house. I like to give everybody a small spoon bowl, something like that, so they can take their own and go. They can even put their own toppings in the bowl, and then you've got something. So check it out, make it, it's easy. You're really just cutting. If you don't feel like making the sauce, don't make the sauce. Buy your own, right? Buy it, warm it up, and you're good to go. I'm Chris Van Bloem for AARP Maryland, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in our class this Saturday at 11 a.m. You can still sign up. Go to the AARP Maryland Facebook page. You can find the registration link there, and we're making turkey cranberry meatballs and a stuffed, it's so good, it's a stuffed acorn squash. Really delicious. I can't wait to see you guys there.